Okay, I'm Jeff Miller from Simi Computer and IT Solutions. Uh, I offer cybersecurity and other IT solutions as well as fixing problems that happened. But right now, I'm all about training for problems so that you can avoid them. And I will share my screen because there are, aside from some general things that I want to share with you guys, I want to talk about a couple of things that just came across our radar. So I will share. So here are a couple of things that hit. One of them, oh, here. This is ACE AI Assistant. This was on a customer's computer and it was installed in Chrome. It took over his search engine, and it would not allow itself to be removed. And there aren't any reports of it doing actual malicious stuff, but the fact that you can't remove it easily is, consistent with malicious behavior. They just don't know anything else that it might be doing while it's on there. And it might not be yet trying to increase its spread. But the fact that you can't remove it isn't great. Also, the fact that, almost every single search engine now has AI in it. There's no real need for this unless if you don't like Google's AI assistant, use Bing or use a different browser, a different search engine. Yeah, ACE branded tools. Default search engine, it sets itself as default, makes it so that you can't remove it. And when I got it, I had to hack the registry. Apparently now there are other ways of doing it. They found cleaner ways of removing it. So, what to check on Chrome, Chrome policy, and on Edge policy, since basically Edge is Chrome. So the same, use it the same method. But look for ACE, unknown search providers, or extension install force list entries. This is the big one, this force list, because it installs stuff even if you don't want it. Review the extension in developer mode. And this is what we didn't know at the time that I first removed it. I had to go into the registry and remove it. Reset search engine, restart pages. You don't always have to do this step, but it's always nice to do. It's always easier. It's better for you to do that. And this is, again, these are how to find it. Check startups, apps, and task scheduler if it returns after a reboot, because so far I haven't seen it do this, but that is something that other malware things do. Also, I have not seen it actually download other malware, but it might in the future. And Microsoft might add it to their Defender, other anti-malware software, virus protection softwares will probably end up adding it to their software and automatically remove it. But so far they don't. And I had AI, make this for me. So basically, we don't know exactly what it does, but it really doesn't belong there. So that's it for that. Another one that someone came across is a fake party invite. It comes from someone that you know because they got hacked. And it has you log into either Google or Microsoft, depending on and I believe they modify it based on the email address that you have that they sent it to, and they get you to sign in to Google or Microsoft, and um, and if there's an MFA on there, it actually has you put in the MFA. So it looks legit, except that one of the things that I noticed on it was that the URL is actually not Google or Microsoft, it's something else. So, if you hover over hover over the link, and if it doesn't look like a Google or Microsoft URL, not it. Also, no party invites ask you to sign into Google or Microsoft. But it looks legit. It comes from someone you know. And so you're not immediately on edge. You're not immediately thinking that this is, something to be wary of. But as soon as it asks you to log in, that's when you should be wary, especially if it asks for an MFA. So how it works, again, it takes you to a page that looks exactly like Google or Microsoft. It's just not. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think that MFA, while it's useful, is the end all be all, because they receive an MFA from their end, and so they just pass it on to you. They ask you to put in the MFA. So if you got a text, you put in the text. If you got an email, you put in the code for the email. If you used an authenticator and it asks for a code, you put in that code, boom, you give it to them, they sign into your account with using it. That is why MFAs it's a good second chance to figure out if you've got a problem. But it doesn't protect you from yourself. Now, after you log in, everything either it presents a normal looking party invitation, or the page errors out, or it doesn't go anywhere, because they don't need to present you with anything after that, because they've already got what they want. And one of the things that they do is immediately, once they log in, they send that scam out to everyone in your contacts list. So everyone that then everyone in your contacts list then gets it. What else they do depends on how much time they have. So if you did this and you accidentally clicked on it, you accidentally logged into it, the first thing you do is sign, not on their site, but you exit out of it. You go to either Microsoft or Google. You type it in directly into your browser, sign in, go to password management, immediately change your password. Then go into, depending on which system you're using, look for remove all logged in devices. Just boot them out, because the longer they have to spend in there, the more time that something will happen. Now, when you first get it, it's not likely that much has happened aside from you just spread it to all of your contacts. But if you let them be logged in long enough, or if you don't change your password, then there's a chance that they can do other stuff with it. So congratulations, you got on a list of here's your email and password. That's why you need to change it right away, because they haven't done anything really with it yet, unless their robot that they have sending this out gets better at doing stuff, automatically. But right now it's just harvesting your credentials, and it's sending out the invite. Now, they will probably try in the future to log in, but that's why you need to change your password right away. If you get a party invite and it doesn't go where you want it to, and you've actually signed in, um, just change your password. If you've done any banking before, before you change your email password, then change your banking passwords. Look for any phone devices that are authorized to be, your approval on anything that you did since getting this email, because there's always a chance that they got that. Um, um, red flags. Yeah. The invite asks you for your email password to view details. That's going to be the, again, it came from someone you trust, but it didn't come from them. It only appears to have come from them. Again, it could also be from a strange sender. They could just be hitting random, but from what I've seen, the ones that I've seen have come from known people. It asks for the MFA. Shouldn't need to. It's an invite to a party. The web address. Yeah, that's the kicker. If you check it, that's the kicker. Urgency. I don't know that they've done this before, but this is, also, these are red flags for any email. Yeah, slow down. The scammer wants fast clicks before you think. So urgency, you should ignore urgency on just about everything. Yeah, if you entered your password or MFA, change, sign out of all devices, review recent security activity and recovery options, because they might add a recovery option, remove unknown app access, and enable pass keys or security keys where possible. And basically, so that you can enable them before they do. I had someone where an attacker enabled a pass key on someone's account, and so they couldn't change stuff on their account because they had to have the attacker's pass key to do it. They had to abandon that email account. They probably could have fought with Microsoft to get that back, but dealing with Microsoft is not easy or fun, and they just figured it was easier to just tell all their friends that they have a new email account. Basically remind staff, never put in an MFA in a business setting, unless you really, really, really know you want to. One line takeaway, never enter your email password or MFA code just to view a party invite. And again, if anyone wants this for the sources, I can, or if you want to screenshot it right now for the sources, that's cool. I also went to find out what happens with that fake invite, once they've got your account. And this isn't for this one. This is just, it was able to find some general stuff. And it's all pretty much what I've already told you. And it's all what they might do once they're inside your account. So this is all stuff that people could do if they get in your account. So changing your password right away prevents them from manually getting in there and doing stuff. But so it's just what should you do immediately? Again, we already talked about that. Here's another new one. Check email forwarding rules, filters, and delegates. Because one of the things that they do if they have control of your account is that they forward emails to themselves so they can get the MFA stuff for them. Filters, they might have a rule in there that forwards it to themselves and then deletes it so that you never see it unless you happen to be looking at it at that time. So that's why you want to basically, one, not get bit by it, but two, change your password right away if you do get bit by it. Yeah, act fast. The attacker may move within minutes. That's if they're sitting at their computer at the time. Most of these, it takes them a little bit to get their list of of targets and then do stuff with them. So again, act fast. Get it before they get you. Simple audience takeaway. Just when you get an email, stop, verify, then respond. If you get a party invite out of the blue from even someone send them a message and say, "Hey, is this real?" Or, just ask them about it. Because, party invite seems innocuous, and, hey, that's an easy ask because people don't send you a message saying that, "Hey, do you want a party invite? I'm going to do this," and then send you a party invite. But also, since it's so innocuous, it shouldn't need your email password to get. So that's and they didn't give good sources for this. So do we have any questions about any of this stuff? It's been 20 minutes. Do you have any questions about what I just covered here?
Yes. I'm good.
And don't forget in the chat. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chat. I can't see the chat while I'm sharing, so let me pop that open then. Here. Oh, how do I see the chat while I'm sharing? Here we go. Chat. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Now I can see this too. Okay. So, and if either of you want this, just put it in the chat, and I'll forward these to you. This you might have seen. I just thought I'd bring this up because it's been a while. These are social engineering red flags, and this is general for email. Since I dealt with something in email, I figured I'd get this, show this to you guys. And again, if you want it, I can email it to you. This comes from KnowBe4. They do good work. So, again, the from field, you don't recognize the sender's email address. It could have their name on it, or it could not, or it could just be a random email address. Depends on if you're targeted or not. If you're not targeted, it's probably just something random. If it's targeted, or like the previous one where they're going through someone's contact list, then it might have their name on it. Check to see if the sender's email address is the correct email address for them. It often isn't. Even in that fake one, I don't think it was the correct email address, but it might have been, because they would have had that. But often they put a fake one so that you can't immediately, reply back and say, "Hey, what's up with this?" You have to go search out their real email address. For a business, the email is from someone outside your organization and is not related to your job responsibilities. Hey, I need you to go type this command in on the server, and you're a coffee tech. Well, that's not something that you're normally supposed to do. So, don't believe anything if that's outside your responsibilities, unless the person is actually asking you to do that. And that's what a phone is for. Call them. Email was sent by someone inside the organization or from a customer and is very unusual or out of character. This doesn't happen as much anymore, because they usually, if you're targeted, they usually do research on who your customers are or who your vendors are, and look to see stuff that comes from them and try to mimic it as close as possible. So this bullet point isn't as useful anymore. It's still a good thing to look for. Sender's email address comes from a suspicious domain like microsoftsupport.com. Oh, Microsoft, if you notice there's a misspelling in there. Those are harder to spot, especially if you have dyslexia and you autocorrect. But definitely look at the domains. Make sure that it looks like legit. Anything with a foreign country, probably not legit unless you deal with people in that country a lot or countries near there. If you don't know the sender personally, yeah, and they were not vouched for someone you trust, again, like the other one said, stop, verify. Don't have business relationship. This is for any spam. I mean, I get so many, hey, buy this, or hey, we've spotted some issues with your website. Well, no. Well, okay, there might be, but I'm not going to give some rando the ability to edit my website either. So that's another thing. If they offer to, fix your website, make sure that they're legit, because you're letting them in on your website, which potentially lets them harvest information from your customers, et cetera, et cetera. So, anyone who emails you out of the blue is likely not acting in your best interest. And for some reason, there's a whole batch of them that apparently claim to be from Delaware. I don't know why, because they actually put that in their SIG file that they're in Delaware, that their city is Delaware, and don't know if that's supposed to make it look more trustworthy or something. They're adding that for some reason, but you don't need their services usually. Unexpected or unusual email with a hyperlink or an attachment. Again, any attachment, it should be treated as suspicion. The to field, I will see it along in the email sent to one or more people, but I don't personally know the other people it was sent to. Most of them don't do this. If they do it, they put the names of people that you know to make it look more legit. But most things don't do CCs like that anymore. You might see it, but probably not. Like I said, if you see that, it's probably people that they think that and they're trying to make themselves look more credible. Again, this is for CCs and stuff like that. That usually doesn't happen anymore. Hyperlinks. This is a big one. Always hover over it. Look to see what the URL is. If it doesn't match, then don't click it. Heck, if it does match, I look them up. I look up the URLs because I'm a paranoid bastard. But I also don't click. If I see a URL, I go to the website itself. I just type in the website. Only has long hyperlinks with no further information. Again, I haven't seen this recently, but if you don't click on a link just out of curiosity to see what the email's about, because that's what the email's about, is getting you to click on the link. Hyperlink that is misspelled, yeah. If you, and some of them are hard to spot. This Bank of America, instead of an M, they have an R and an N. Heck, MN confusion is also commonly used. There's a number of things that are in there that you can spot, if you're paying attention. But if you're not paying attention, but I would never click a link for Bank of America anyway. I would go directly to their website. And then I'd have to create an account because I don't use Bank of America. And that would be, for me, be a big red flag. The date, again, this is for businesses. Did you receive it during business hours or 3 a.m.? course, if you know people around the world, the date and times don't really matter because dates and times can be variable depending on where they're sending from. Did I? Yeah. Again, I don't see this very often anymore, where they just put a random subject line on the email. They used to do that and make the subject lines, have it randomized every single time so that the subject lines don't get filtered out. They don't do that as much anymore because it makes it easier for people to spot a bad email. It used to be when you got the email and you had to call someone, that they would make obvious errors on purpose to filter out anyone who would waste their time by having, some common sense. Nowadays, they don't. Usually you're clicking on a link. They don't need personal interaction, so it doesn't cost them any time or money to interact with you. So they try to make the emails as legit looking as possible. Attachments, always be wary of attachments. You know, the only type of attachment that's always safe to click is a .txt file. And I'm going to say no on that. No, it's not. Because it can appear to be a .txt file, and they could have something else going on. Just as an example, I saw someone get something with an attachment that was tax doc, some number, PDF.exe. Well, looks like a PDF, but the last thing on it is .exe, so it doesn't matter that there's a PDF in the middle of it. So that nailed someone who now has better training. But that's why, always look at the file of an attachment, even if it's coming from someone because it might not be coming from them. It just might be coming from someone who is faking being them. Is the sender asking me to click a link or open an attachment to avoid a negative consequence or gain something of value? Yeah, the old, click here. You ordered something for $699. I don't know why. Apparently 700 is some kind of break point, but it's almost always $699. Click here if you don't want it. Well, they're trying to say, oh no, I got to do this. That's what they're trying to induce in you, or I'll be out $700. But one, no one is going to give you an extra chance to not buy something from them. So if you ordered something, they're going to put it through, because why would they give you another chance to say no if you've already said yes? So if it's legit, it won't come to you. So the only time that these come to you are if they're trying to scam you. Bad grammar or spelling errors, again, doesn't happen so much anymore because they want to look legit instead of filtering out people that can figure things out. Click a link. Sender's asking to click a link that seems odd or illogical. Again, they make them look as legit as possible now. So I have an uncomfortable gut feeling about the sender's request. If you have an uncomfortable gut feeling, listen to it. Do not that's telling you something. Now, for most people, you get that gut feeling after you've clicked. I mean, okay, it's not sufficient to keep you from getting in trouble, but it's sufficient to try to fix whatever mess you caused. So if you clicked a link, immediately, detach from the internet, and then look do some checks. If you have antivirus software, run it. If you take it to someone, but don't let it sit there. Don't run your computer with it. If you get that gut feeling, do something. Call me, call someone else, and tell them about it. And if they think that it might be bad, listen to them. And if they think that something more needs to be done on your computer, decide whether it's worth spending the time fixing it, fixing a potential problem that may or may not be a problem versus leaving a potential problem that may be a big problem running on your computer. That's always a decision that you have to make if you find yourself behind the 8 ball on one of these. Okay, this is the email asking me to look at a compromising or embarrassing picture of myself or someone I know. Most adults do not get this. This I've seen targeting teens and preteens, mostly girls, but I've heard about it happening on boys also. And here's the bad thing with AI: if they have a picture of you anywhere, they can make compromising pictures out of AI. And an adult, just have the wherewithal to say, hey, if you send this to people, I'll just let everyone know that someone has an AI picture of me. And unless you're famous, that probably won't happen. Kids, however, go immediately into panic mode when they see this. They don't, they usually don't think about it. They're usually too embarrassed to talk to their parents. But if you're a parent or a grandparent or an uncle, let the kids know that if they get a picture like this and they didn't pose for it, especially if they didn't pose for it, but even if they did pose for it, let a parent or someone know so that you can get ahead of this. Because often what they do is they try to get in this. Pedophiles do this a lot, is that they'll send a fake embarrassing picture of a preteen to get them to basically get them to send a real picture of them partially clothed or unclothed. And then once they've got that, then they can show that this is a real picture, not an AI fake. And then they ramp up the extortion or whatever. Again, have that talk with kids. That if someone sends you something like that, let an adult know. They'll know that it either wasn't you or, whatever. Just you have to let them know that you will believe them, because this whole thing is, oh no, what will people think about me? And that happens to teens and preteens a lot. And so you have to get in front of it. After the fact is too late. And maybe even once they're a preteen, it might be too late. Talk to them about it when they're, 8 to 10 years old, just so that they know. And so that it's not, and then have a talk with them maybe every couple of years about it. Just so that it's common to them, that it's not like, oh no, this is something totally new. That to me is, I think, the biggest thing that you can do to protect your young ones, is to have this talk with them about getting a compromising or fake compromising picture, even an embarrassing one. They're usually using it. Let's say you mooned someone, whatever, and someone got a picture of it, and they're trying to get you to do other stuff based on that picture. Well, just, yes, that was dumb, but it's not as dumb as doing whatever they want you to do. That's got to be your attitude with it, is that, whatever it is, as long as you don't do whatever they're asking you to do, That's the main thing. And with AI out there, you can always just say it was AI fake. There's no way to prove that it's not a good AI fake anymore. So just say it was fake. That's all you have to do. And that's about it. Sorry about that. Little bit here, email security. This is talking to IT professionals, and these are things that appeared in their top 3 concerns. And they also asked, what are your top 3 concerns, and have you experienced it personally or not? And these numbers don't really make sense to me because they don't add up to 100%. But I don't know how they compiled this, but these numbers look weird to me. So again, always look at things with skepticism. So viruses, malware, which kind of the same thing. So, clump these together. In fact, if you notice, the numbers are almost exactly the same. Spam. So the top 3 things that people experience. And so the top 3 things that show up on this list are viruses, malware as one thing, spam, which usually is a vector for all of these. And I can't believe that 32% of people haven't actually experienced spam. Direct insider threat, employee data leakage. Again, 34% of IT professionals have experienced this. 29% said that they haven't. The rest didn't answer because they did experience it. They just don't want to tell anyone. Again, financial fraud, spear phishing. This is more rare because that's actually targeted. Ransomware doesn't happen as much now. The average person usually doesn't experience this. I think they've figured out that the average person doesn't have enough money to pay for unencrypting your hard drive. So that's not something that they really target. They'll target the big companies because they can make headlines from it. Social engineering, offensive inappropriate content, cyberbullying. These aren't threats to your system, but could end up, being something. Cyberbullying and harassment. Yeah, I can believe that not many of us IT professionals have experienced it, but themselves, but they've encountered it in other people because, again, usually happens, teens, preteens. Sometimes it happens in the workplace, but that's an HR type of issue. So it usually doesn't come from the outside. And if it does, you take it to whoever's doing its manager, and that usually stops real darn fast. And that's about it. I am going to stop sharing. Are there any questions or anything that any of you guys have seen that that you are concerned about, that you have questions about?
What I've been doing a lot lately is I just get so much shit in my email address. I just go to unsubscribe. And I've been doing, I probably have unsubscribed from maybe 25 different, just stuff. And I have to do it every once in a while. And it's just like, I wake up in the morning and, it's like there's 38 emails in my personal email box. And one might be something I want to keep, It's just crazy.
I would actually argue against that, unless you know that you've subscribed to it before, because some people send out random stuff. The unsubscribe button might be an attack vector.
Most of it I'm aware of.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Just if it's something that you've never seen before, I wouldn't click any link on it. I would rather mark it as junk and let my system just deal with it. And that's what I
get like 150 junk emails a day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. once a week I go through my junk emails, just scan through and look for anything that doesn't look like junk.
Yeah.
But but yeah, because for one thing, in Outlook or Gmail, if you mark it as junk, they send back to the server that sent it. That this is, and if too many things get junk reports, they start blocking that server. So, that can sometimes bump spammers off. Which is also a bad thing, is that if you inherit it, if you get a URL that's an old URL that someone else has used, or you're actually getting a server account an account number that someone's used, you could be facing the results of someone else's spam. Because spammers get bumped off servers, their account gets flagged on a blacklist, they go open up a new account somewhere else with a different account number, and this is an internal number. And you could be, then you come in, get an account number, and it's a previous spammer, and your emails could be flagged as spam. So it's on you to either clean that up or get them to get you a different account number. So if you ever see that your stuff gets marked as spam, by people, it's probably, especially if it's a new account, it's probably because you got an account number that was already used for bad stuff.
Cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Yeah, you covered the stuff I was wondering
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Okay, good. And so I am going to stop recording. I'm going to say thank you guys for being here. And if you catch this at a later time, you can't put stuff in chat, but you can reach out to me at jeff@simit.com. Thank you.
You got one in August too, right?
Yes. Oh, August. Late August. We'll send out the invites for it. Actually, let me see if I can.
12th, August 12th.
What's that?
I think it's August 12th.
Yeah, I'm going to go here, August 12th, and let's see. Yes, August 12th at noon. And we will get the invites out to people and cover whatever's come up since now. So thank you, Randy. Thank you, Pam. And thank you for anyone who tries to educate themselves on this so that they don't I want to make it hard for the bad guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks.
Bye.